Namaste to all. I Sangita Patel welcome you all to Om Divine Healing channel, and in this video we'll talking about the book which Hemali have written down, and also we'll be asking her few questions like what has motivated her, or what is the one thing which has drawn her from physical therapist to the Reiki masters, and from that to jump and write down a book in a chapter, and then collaborate with so many healers, bringing them together and working in a book called Sacred Death. So, Hemali, I know before the Sacred Death, you have written a chapter in a book. So, how a thought come to you that like now I should pursue my career as an author, or maybe it put it in a chapter in a book, and then coming out and bringing all these beautiful healers together and put on your own book.
Thank you, Sangita, for having me here and talking about Sacred Death. My mission is to transform the way the world looks at or perceives how, or their perspective on life, end of life, and death. So, how did I begin with writing? I always wanted to, my Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 teacher, I used to go to her circles and Reiki shares, and she started writing. She used to do newsletters and things, and she started writing really well. So I was asking her, wow, your writing is getting really good. What is your secret? And so she introduced me to Laura DiFranco. And she introduced me to Laura DiFranco, and the rest is history. I took a writing class with her in January of 2020, and after that I wrote a blog, and believe me, I was very scared of writing. I consider myself not a good writer, and so to start from just a class and then a blog and then actually writing, and so one morning she woke up as everything was shutting down in the pandemic. She's like, we all are healers, right? Let's come up with a book where we write our stories and how we turned these pain points as our opportunity. And how do you, give everyone a tool that while they're at home, they can work on something with themselves.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that's when this is the ultimate guide to self-healing. It's a first book. I wrote a chapter on mindful eating on that one, because I talk about the way I was able to help shift my kids' asthma and their allergies, and how just changing our diet, changing our mind thought, just lifestyle, and how we were able to, they were not on, or they are not on any continuous steroid use or any kind of medication at the time, at this time. So from that, it's just a journey since I've done Reiki, where I've been led. So I live very intuitive life, and so really I've been led through my meditation, through synchronistic events. I've been led to so many different classes. I've done holistic nutrition class. I've also, what I was led to was end of life doula certification course from University of Vermont. And it's really helping people through their end stages in life, helping them through the death process, and helping people or caregivers through the grief and the loss and what comes around before, during, and after the death of a loved one. And so from there, I was approached to write a chapter in Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 4, where I wrote about legacy work. And so when I took this course, like you said, I have physical therapy, Reiki. I was like, do I need to take one more? I talked to my angels and guides, like, are you serious that you want me to do one more course? Like, what am I going to do with that? And not that, I was curious, because as a physical therapist, I was working at the hospital, and so work with patients up to, once the hospice comes in or palliative care comes in. As a physical therapist, we kind of back off and we don't see the patient anymore. So I was always curious what happened behind the doors where the person was in hospice care. So when I took the course, my only thing was that I want to be able to talk about death more openly, especially in Western world. In India, we grew up with seeing death. We have home funerals and things, but here, it's not as open. Yeah. Even children are not subjected to anybody. I mean, I've met people that they've never seen even their loved ones at their end stage. So there's so much fear, and we saw the fear in 2020, 2021 around death. And the fear kind of puts limitation in our living. So that's where the sacred death came along, where I thought that might be a great platform to bring 24, and it's the same format as the Ultimate Guide, as 25 authors writing about their story, the tools that help them get through things. And so Sacred Death is also similar to that. We have 25 authors, myself included, and I wanted a different perspective from around the world. My belief about life is that, from what I've seen, is that we're millions of people in the world, and that many perspective on healing, that many perspective on doing things. So there's nothing wrong or right. And so bringing different cultures and how they work around death, how they their thinking is around death, and so bringing that more open, bigger perspective on death. So I've interviewed almost 45 to 50 people. Wow. It was but then I left it to my guides and angels, and I was like, you asked me to do this big task. Now you need to bring the people for me. And of course I was not disappointed at all. I mean, there were things where some authors I met, I went to just out of the blue, I got invited to go to Guatemala. And I went to Guatemala for 2 weeks, and I met somebody who it's just by chance meeting. We're sitting across, and I just admired what she was doing, and she was selling these cards, and she designs them. Wow. And I just looked at it, and I was just attracted to it. So I started talking to her, and I was like, wow, I would love for you to design my book cover. And she's from Austria, and little did I know how death had shifted so many things within her, and how her life had changed due to her story. And so this is by Theodora, and so she's written it. She not only did she want to contribute to the cover, but she wanted to write a chapter in the book. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so, how would I have known to go to Guatemala to meet someone from Austria? And so I have someone that is in Australia, someone from New Zealand. I have a perspective from someone in India on Vedanta. What is the belief from Bhagavad Gita. Then I have someone talking about the background from Hawaiian culture, someone from South American culture. And then many perspective right here from US based, who are part of the ministry to help people through the end of their life and end of stage. And so, and that's how this began. It's almost like I wanted to know who my angel and guides were, and I wanted to have interaction with them. So my everyday meditation was, I want to meet you, I want to talk to you. And one day that I felt the presence, and started communicating, and they, so I asked, who is it, and so they said angel of death. And so I started looking, and of course, growing up in India, I've known Yama or Yamraj and stories about him and things, but there are so many other cultures that I looked up that talks about the gods and goddesses of underworld, they call it, and kings or priests and priestesses of underworld that help with end of life and death, and how other cultures celebrated it. I mean, it's amazing what you can find out there. And so my thing was that why do we not celebrate the same way? Why don't we give ourselves enough time to grieve? People now, everything they want it quicker, right? Nobody wants to wait till 13 days anymore because life needs to keep happening. Then what we do is we're distracting ourselves from grief. We're distracting ourselves from all these traumas and processes of loss, and it does affect us when you move forward in our day-to-day life. And so just talking, and caregivers and healthcare workers are very dear to me, because as a healthcare worker, we give so much. And so this is more a book towards, yes, for somebody who is at end stage, but at the same time, somebody who's caring for somebody, a loved one that is at the end stage. So to help them, so there are tools that they can use at home for meditation, for to look at different perspectives.
Thank you so much for beautifully explaining it to all of us and making us understand what is this book about. So my another question to you is that, like putting chapters in a book, bringing 24 healers together, and from start till finish, obviously it is not an easy task or work. So did you face any challenges, or what is the one thing which you still remember and you feel like, oh my god, at that time I felt like, oh my god, I won't be able to do it, but then it's done, and now when you see or look back, you just cherish the moment or feel like, okay, thank god I have not given up.
Yes, there were many moments like that in between, in the beginning, like what did I say yes to? This is way beyond me, the fear of not being enough, not being good enough too, also comes up, like who am I to do something like that, right? And there's that fear, and then you just work on those things. And of course I had Laura DeFranco, the Brave Healer production, I had hired them, the publishing company that helped me through many things in terms of putting all that together, the chapters, the editing, and the publishing and everything. But what I had to do was, once I got all the authors saying yes and investing in this book, their writing and their work, after that I just had to come up with introduction, disclaimer, writing my chapter, and then other things that go in the front of the chapters, and then the back of the chapters, and acknowledgement and everything. So that was a little work. It really helped me. Few other ladies that have already done this work, they have published few of the books before, really helped me through writing some of that, just encouraging me, or just listening to me what I have to say, and telling me that I can do this, and that really helps. So the support, and you need a lot of support. You need a village to make this happen, for sure.
Yeah, so my question is that if you recommend this book, or if you want somebody to read this book, so why they should read this book, and what one thing they would take away from this book?
So what I want people to look at get out of this book is to know that they're not alone. that we all experience: death, grief, loss. We ourselves are headed towards death. We don't know, and yes, that uncertainty is what causes fear. And so there are some chapters where it talks about that there's nothing to be fearful, that we are surrounded by our loved ones, especially during the end stage. There are stories and there are numerous research where it talk about how we are surrounded by our loved ones that has already passed, and how people see light on the other side. There's a great party for us on the other side, and that death is not doesn't have to be violent. It's very peaceful, and that you just find comfort in knowing that we all go through this, and there are different ways to find peace within yourself, to finish whatever that needs to be done. Either whether it's you who is at the end of your life, or if it's a loved one that is at end of life, that the conversation can be much deeper and much involved. Like when you're talking to your loved one, you can deeply talk about what are some things that you want to say and you haven't been able to tell them, so that you don't have regrets. You want them one last time to say how much they mattered, and if anything, what are their wishes, what are their last wishes. So some of those things, like being bold and talking and asking them how they're feeling, are they scared, it just gives you deeper meaning and deeper connection with your loved one that is at that end stage. So that is what the book brings, and brings more perspective.
So thank you so much, Hemali, for explaining us so beautiful about this book. And I would recommend everybody that you can read this book. People who are in USA and Canada, of course, they can contact Hemali. If everybody doesn't know her, and if everybody know me, of course you can contact me, and I'll give her contact as well. This book is also available on Amazon app too. But if you get book from her, she will sign in and will send it to you. Right?
Yes.
So we are going to put this description about the book in the description box, so you can take a look at it. And of course, you can go and get it from Amazon. It is available throughout the world, so it does not matter if you're in India, Canada, or UK. Still, you can get this book and read this. All these books are really very beautiful, because it's not about one person. It's about different healers coming together and helping and giving you the tools to make your life better and to get the control back of your life. So I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much, Hemali, for taking me out your precious time and giving me and coming for this interview. So I hope you guys like this video. Put down in your comment sections what is the one thing which you liked about this interview. If you are a healer, or if you are somebody who would like me to take your interview and put it, and where people can know more about your healing techniques or other modalities, definitely feel free to contact me. Also put down in a comment section like on what topics you will love to watch the video, or on what topics I should make the video. So thank you guys for coming and watching this video. Do subscribe to my channel, like it, share it with your friends and family. So till I see you next time, I Sangita Patel, take care or leave with lots of love, light and enjoy. Namaste.